Okay, our guest today has landed at the top of the tower. He is a sports broadcasting behemoth who is now taking to the water in his new book, Swimmingly Adventures in Water. I've had a gander and it's quite grander. Welcome to the show, Vassos Alexander. Taking a leaf out of your own book with that introduction, I have to say.
That's lovely, Ryan.
You
Thank
happy
you.
enough with that, Jess? Yeah, good.
Very, very happy with it.
Okay, I'm very glad to see you. You're one of the most lovely people since I ever got here to this building and to this city. You've given me the most lovely welcome, and I really appreciate it. So let me just get that on the table here.
Well,
You've been very kind to me here, and it's lovely to have you here.
It
to
has
talk
been an
about your book.
absolute delight for all of us, but speaking for myself, to meet you, to get to know you, and I'm so thrilled by the news that you announced this morning that I knew yesterday.
Yes, you did.
And it would have been very difficult to sit on that particular kind of unexploded joy bomb.
Yeah, it was a joy bomb.
Without letting it spill onto the air. So I'm thrilled for you and Claire.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for having me on your lovely show.
Well, first of all, I'm thrilled with that news, as you can probably see and gather from the vibes. It's a very good news story, and there's a lot of smiling here. So that's great. And on the second part, you are always welcome into the studio and to talk about your book. Let's get down to business with Swimmingly, because you've been writing this in between coming and going, doing shows and working with Chris Evans in the morning and everything in between. So it's a busy thing. And people will associate with running mostly. That's always been your big calling card in some ways. But the swimming, why did you decide, okay, I've talked about running, I've written about running, I need to get into the water?
Well, here's the thing. I love two things. Right? I love biting off more than I can chew. I love a challenge. I really love getting out of my comfort zone. Right? And I've done that in running a lot. And there's not that much outside my comfort zone now in the running sphere. Yeah. So then the challenge of a solo channel attempt, swimming, was something that was just too... You remember, like a few weeks ago, I mean, I went on about it a lot, running the London Marathon, but in a 25-kilogram weighted vest.
I remember the day after.
Yeah, no, I know. I was like 3 inches shorter and stuff like that. And I couldn't look at Canary Wharf that we can see from our studio window here because it hurt so much. Basically PTSD.
Yeah,
it really was.
You were triggered by the view.
Yeah, I actually was.
Bizarrely.
I actually was, because I was running around that and I remembered how much it hurt. But on the start line, not knowing if you're going to be able to finish, what state you'll be in, how long it's going to take you, I find that so exciting. That sort of... I'm stepping into the unknown and I'm going to test myself to my limits.
Why do you want to test yourself to your limits?
I just think it's great. Like, okay, to sort of drop a big running name. Roger Bannister. So Roger Bannister, the first human to run a mile in under 4 minutes, which was a huge thing in the 50s. People said it couldn't be done, and he did it in 1954. I met on the 50th anniversary of that, and we had a cup of coffee together, and he said... First of all, he said that's not his proudest achievement, which is wow. Some of his subsequent medical discoveries were. But then he also said, if you can, get out of your comfort zone every day, because then your comfort zone expands and you grow as a human being. So I love that, and I love it and I live it.
Now, your comfort zone and mine would differ. Like, I'd have an olive and be disgusted by it because I don't like olives, and that's me out of my comfort zone.
Don't tell Greece.
Sorry, so he says to Vassos Alexander. I mean, my God, what's it thinking? But your comfort zone challenge is to do the marathon, as you describe, or swim the... Honestly, very different expectations in terms of how far you're willing or able to stretch yourself.
But they weren't. I wasn't ever a runner, and when I get a bit between my teeth and I love something, I get quite evangelical about them, you know. And so I have been about the running. I just want to tell people, look at this. I'm like a sort of Labrador with a waggy tail. Look at what I discovered. Look what I've discovered. Well, you didn't really discover it.
Yeah. But you discovered it for yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think because of that, I'm all the more evangelical about it. And then I had this challenge, swimming the channel, which, you know, spoiler alert, I never managed to do, but I did discover swimming, and now I'm the running evangelical, but only with goggles on.
Yeah, okay. So just change the outfit a little bit.
Because swimming is every bit as wonderful as running. Yeah. You know, Einar, our wonderful engineer, he started swimming last week. He swims every day, and he says every time you get out of the water, you feel a little bit reborn, and you just feel like, a better version of yourself.
He looks like a new man. Look at him. You just look happy for a change. Not that Icelandic, dour, angry, sad, herring eating.
Yeah, you've lost the scowl.
You've lost the scowl. You just look like a new man. It's great. You've got to there's a bang of seawater off you. It's a great result. It's a change of scene, isn't it, for Einar? But this is it. What we're going to do is we'll take a quick piece of music, and what I want to come back to talk to you about is with swimming. It's called Adventures in Water, but it also it's for people who did that thing that no one did before COVID, which was sea swimming. When I say nobody, the numbers just grew and grew as people,
exponentially.
Right, and I'd love to get into a bit of that and why people fell in love with the sea. What because it's part water, part humanity, part social, part intellectual endeavor, and part kindness. I think that's all the things I'm getting from what you're writing about. So will we get into that in a minute?
Well, do you know what? I'm so thrilled that I didn't get to swim the channel, because otherwise it's another book about me doing a silly challenge. Yeah. Whereas now it can be about celebrating the wonderful community that have discovered the open water swimming.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that, because I was quite cynical about that whole world, and now I'm gone from that cynicism. So we'll go there after this. This morning, Vassos Alexander, my friend and colleague and author of Swimmingly Adventures in Water, is our guest today, and we never short of a few words to say.
We had a lovely chat during Sam.
That could be the director's cut, that's for sure. Yeah. Tony has just got on to say, suggesting Vassos do the Sea to Summit in Westport in lovely Mayo. So that's a nice part of the world if you want to do that.
Heard of it. Definitely on the list. Yes, please.
Because you are leaving your job soon in Virgin Radio, and you are going to do... I have no idea.
And I have no idea.
Okay. Because you turned 50.
Yep.
And said, right, that's it. You had a look in the mirror moment and said, I'm out.
I don't think it's a turning 50 thing.
Okay.
I just think it's a I don't know what thing. But I do feel this draw. And I don't know what it's towards.
Yeah.
So, Chris and I were talking this morning, another off-the-air conversation. Yeah. And he goes, well, it is mad. Because, the job that I have ticks every single one of the boxes, and it absolutely does.
Yeah.
And it is mad, but I wonder whether in the madness lies the truth. Or conversely, it is just mad.
Yes.
There's only one way to find out.
There's only one way. I spoke to you about this before, about looking in the mirror in the dressing room when I was giving up the Late Show and saying, I'm out, because I know I've done 14 years and I loved it. I know there's another year in the contract, but I just don't have it in me. So if you know, and off you go. And then the world makes other plans and it conspires for or against you, and you find yourself going, where to from here? But you find your way.
Oh, 100%.
Which is where you're going. Let's go back to the swimming. Because you've written a book about this. And when the world was in trouble, a lot of people there was a lot of mental health issues, and we're talking about COVID, and people they were lonely and they were losing the plot, and it was just a very dark, difficult. A lot of people turned to the sea. Why did they do that, do you think? Why, or to the lake, or wherever it might be, to water?
Yeah, it's really funny, isn't it? And it does, and there is that feeling of, well, first of all, every time you get in the water, whether it's Einar in his local health club where he's been swimming for a couple of weeks, or whether it's me in the Serpentine in the lake in the middle of Hyde Park in London,
which you do
every morning. But let's say in January, when I'm breaking the ice before getting in, every time you get in the water, there is a little question that you're answering, which is, am I brave enough?
Okay.
Because it's either, unless it's a nice warm shower, basically there is a little moment when you get in the water where it's like, oh, it's a bit uncomfortable, or a lot uncomfortable. Yeah. So there's that. So you're automatically, you're a slightly better version of yourself for accepting the challenge and taking it on. And then there's this lovely community. They're so welcoming that I started swimming in lockdown in the River Thames by Teddington.
Yes.
And there was me and my friend Ollie and our mutual friend Marlena. And there were the three of us, and people would look at us and say, you're completely mad. But then one person said, is it nice in there? And we said, well come in tomorrow. This is where we're doing it tomorrow. And we found a bit of community, and 3 became 4, became 5, became 6. And now Marlena's swimming group, which is the Teddington Blue Tits.
Yes, who get mentioned in your book.
A lot they get mentioned in my book. Has 3,000 members. And multiple swims every day, and the most supportive, wonderful community.
I'm trying to figure out, this is your equivalent of, if I could contextualize it for myself, this would be like a book club club for me is a swimming club for you, essentially. So, and you find your band of brothers and sisters who you are like-minded souls, and you just discover and enjoy.
Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
100%, 100%, and and there's a lot of grumbling on the bank before anyone gets in.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's cold. Oh, why are we doing this? Oh, it's winter. Oh, it's summer. Oh, But actually, everyone loves it after you've got out. I always used to say you never regret a run.
Yeah,
you don't. Yeah. But you never, never, never regret a swim because you come out a slightly, better version of you.
I never ran a day in my life until about 2 years ago, and I started. And ever since I've told you I was in Japan with my daughters. Myself, my eldest, did a run in each city every morning. So which was just a buzz, a nice way to see the city. It is a beautiful thing, and I always say, I was 49 when I maybe did my first run, and you're never too old to start. I'd say that much. I'm not evangelical about it because I used to always think people who talk too much about it are like, oh, I don't know, you're putting me off, and I don't know, I feel the pressure. But somebody said to me, if this running thing that you're doing, well, if you can do it, it's kind of making me think I can do it, or anyone can do it, because you're such a useless, non-running type person. So the point I'm making is that when you get into it, it's a very nice place to be. And like, I was talking to a very good friend of mine this morning, and I said, "What are you up to?" She goes, "I'm going for a run." Never thought she'd run in her life. She used to smoke, she used to drink a lot. And I said, "What?" She goes, "That's killing me. I don't think I'll bother." I said, "Please." Now she's my project. I cannot wait to encourage her and nurture and get her up. You know what I'm talking about.
Well, that's the thing. That's one of the reasons I do these silly things. I mean, in that book, I'm getting up at 4:00 in the morning on a family holiday in Lake Tahoe and swimming for 8 hours in a dark lake in the middle of nowhere. Well,
is that okay with Caroline?
No, it really
I mean,
wasn't.
At 4:00, your wife sitting outside looking through the window, going, "I'm going to reach through that window, and I'm going to."
Yeah, well, yes, she's she was very patient, because actually I did it both mornings when we were in Lake Tahoe, because you've got to put the hours in. The negotiation was I'll be back for lunchtime for the afternoon for our family holiday.
Aren't you very decent?
Well, but then I sort of think that if I'm not a proper swimmer. I'm not like some of these sort of legends that I get to interview and talk to in the book, Diana Nyad and Lynn Cox.
You made me watch, not you made me, I listened to you talking about that, and I watched that program, that documentary about her. Yeah. The film, I should say, with Jodie Foster.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then you're interviewing her.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an amazing story too.
She's a very personable, but I mean, in her 60s, she tried to swim from Cuba to Florida, if you haven't seen the film, right? When she was one of the world's top open water swimmers, and failed and nearly died and got sent off course towards Texas, and then promptly gave up open water swimming for 35 years, and then on her 60th birthday thinks, I might have another crack at that. And then she did, and she failed, and she did, and she failed, and she did, and she failed, and she did, and succeeded. And what an inspiration. But that, a little bit of that, like, I want to rub off on people. I want people to think, well, if that bloke can swim for 8 hours in the dark on a family holiday, I can get down to my local Lido and just give it a couple of lengths.
You're an inspiration, you really are. And you're just one of life's good people. And I'm very happy to have you in my orbit, so thank you very much. Thanks, Vassos. I really mean that. You're a wonderful person, and congratulations on Swimmingly and Adventures in Water. It's a beautiful book. I love Sophie's comment on the it's a love letter, and I often say that about the best books like this, that they're saying something so meaningful. That's what this book does, and all those people who are in swimming clubs or who just go to the Coral Strand in the west of Ireland on a given day will love this. It's a manual. It's a love letter. It's a kindness guide to kindness, I think, as well as endeavour. So well done to you on that.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your brunch with your beautiful wife.
Well, we already had one, but we're going for a second.
Oh, you're going for seconds? Is that all right? Maybe you can pay for one pays for one pays for the other. Okay, part two. Vassos Alexander, the great. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.